Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is Douglas James. I have a very special video for you today. We all want financial security, all right? It's very important. It's what we thrive for in our life, in our businesses, right? But I think there's a few things that I do want to talk to you about, and these are some of the key pillars that you want to keep an eye out for if you want financial security, all right? I'm going to be talking to you about community. I'm going to be talking to you about giving back, right? Because life gives to the giver and takes from the taker, right? These are things that we always need to be aware of in all that we do in life and in business, right? So hey, make sure you do give the video a thumbs up and make sure you do subscribe to my channel. Hey, I'm coming out with videos all the time around business, financial literacy, and leadership. So this video is going to be an excerpt from one of my coaching calls that I did with my community. Super impactful stuff. Make sure you grab a notepad and pen, take some notes, and hey, I'll see you at the end of the video. Thanks. I think there's three main pillars in life that I think we all want to get close to. Obviously, we all feel the need to have financial security, right? Because financial security brings us options, right? They say like money doesn't buy happiness. Well, I mean, money buys me, cheeseburgers, and I'm happy when I eat my cheeseburger, right? So that's kind of BS to say money doesn't buy happiness. I think it does, right? I think it gets you closer to that sense of joy, right? And it could put smile. Well, you can do a lot more with money than you can with than you're broke, right? So I don't really buy into the whole money doesn't buy happiness. And the people that typically say that are broke people that don't have money, right? They're just trying to find an excuse and justification on why they didn't make the necessary moves and make the necessary commitments to create better opportunities for them and their families, right? So that's basically where that comes from. So, but I think we can almost all agree that, financial security obviously will help us move the needle, get us closer to what matters to us, right? And that's an important thing, getting close to what actually matters. The money's great, but you can't take it when you're gone, right? So I think that's something, a key thing to focus on. Addiction is an interesting topic of conversation because I think a lot of us, at some point might have dealt with some type of addiction. I mean, alcoholism, right? We see all these things, alcoholism, gambling, a lot of these things, right? It's really important to find like your center of gravity on this. And if you're going to be extraordinary and do extraordinary things in life, you really need to know how to segregate and find balance, right, in your life and not let these things, alcoholism and gambling addiction or sex addiction or whatever it is, that we do kind of like run our life, right? What I learned from Joe, there's ways and practices of overcoming that. A lot of it is like community, getting around people, other people that have addiction. That's why like in marketing and sales, like we build community, right? Community is so important. Being in proximity to other people that are going through similar things that you're going through, right? Like being around other business owners that are going through what you're going through is an amazing way to get to see the light at the end of the tunnel and to work together as a team. I mean, I don't expect anyone to raise their hand and say they've been to like an AA meeting. I know my father had struggled with drugs and alcohol for a number of years. And I know he was actually ordered by like the court to like, go to AA meetings and stuff. But the point of me saying that is community is usually baked into a lot of treatment, right? Not only treatment, but, opportunities for growth. So the underlining message here is that I think we should never discount the opportunity to be a part of communities because connection, human connection, bringing people closer together, these are the things that really drive, change, right? If you're part of something that's bigger than yourself, part of a community, typically people like that join forces, that are on a team, right, and that are in communities tend to get placed quicker than people that are just trying to figure out and do it alone. So that's why for you guys in this community, we always want to encourage you guys to, joint venture, have study groups, right? Take it upon yourself to coordinate, latch on to somebody that's in a similar place as you, that might have similar questions. Community is really important. That's why, reaching out maybe in your Slack group or maybe in your Facebook group, and connecting, right? When I was back in early 2015, went on deployment to like Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Philippines, and you really don't understand like third world means until you go to like really poverty, countries. And to see the things that I've seen, it's like, well, wow, United States, we have it really, really good here, right? So I think that's one of my main focuses is, when we were over there, we did things like we built schools, we built basketball fields, soccer fields, stuff like that, basically all for kids. We did a lot of things for kids in the community when we were there. And those are the kind of things that I really love doing and gets me more excited about waking up every day than like doing a Facebook ad, right? I think some people get caught up in this honeymoon idea of, I just learned how to do this thing and I just got my first client, right? And that's like this honeymoon thing that happens. And then what happens once that burns out? Like, what if, you just stop prospecting? What if you stop landing clients or stop collecting cash, right? Are you prepared for that? And what are you going to do to make sure that you can outlast the honeymoon phase? You have to continue to grind. There is a grind phase, right? But what's cool about when you land like the first client, it opens up this belief where like, wow, this thing works, I can do this. And you just go out and do it over and over and over again and not get caught up if like the one thing fails, right? Because you're going to pull levers and they're not always going to work out. So the thing is about, if you pull a lever and it doesn't work out, did you learn from it and are you still moving forward, or did you throw your hands up and like quit and waste all that energy? Investors don't think on a day-to-day, month-to-month time frame, or a year to year. Like, it's more like decade to decade. Like, are you committed? This question is a test to your level of commitment in business. If you're on a month-to-month time frame, are you committed? Long-term time preferences are the best way to look at opportunities and look at investments, right? Anything less than a year is not the right mind frame to have if you're going to be in business for the long term, right? I'm assuming a lot of you guys here have goals, aspirations, things that you want to do and achieve for you and your families, right? And a lot of that most likely won't happen in less than a year. Can it happen? Yes, it can happen. However, approaching it with a short-term time preference will most likely probably set you up for failure or disappointment, right? Because if you're saying, hey, in 90 days or in 6 months, I need to make 10 grand a month, or like I'm going to lose the house or something like that, I mean, that's a really bad position to be in. Because what if you don't hit the number? What are you going to do? Sometimes, people need that pressure to make it happen. And it can be a good thing. But the thing about it is, let's say you do put that number out there. Let's say that is 10 grand a month in 6 months, okay? Which is doable. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that's not doable, especially in this business model. The more important thing here is I want to set you guys up for success with expectations, right? But let's say you hit that number. Let's say you hit that number. Can you maintain that number, right? And what is the long-term goal that you're working towards? I think these are things and questions that you should be asking yourself, because when you start a business, it takes a lot of energy, right? It does take money. And when you start a business, there's a lot of things that you have to do in the beginning to get it up and running. And you typically people don't usually start a business to get in and out of it in 90 days or 6 months. Like, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life, where people like start an LLC, start up a business, and like you talk to them like 40 days later and they're like, yeah, I gave up on that. Couldn't handle it. What a waste of energy. What a waste of time, right? I think that if we can change your mind to thinking on a short-term time frame of 3 months, 6 months, a year, and if we can change it to 5 years or 10 years, and then if you guys are in the mindset, locked in, knowing, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, what is my solvable problem? 10 million in 10 years, okay? Let's work backwards from there. What's the amount of effort and work do I need to put in daily to make that happen, to achieve that, okay? And then you could start dialing in the targets, okay? 10 million in 10 years is the goal. But what's the targets? The first target in 1 year, per year, could be $1 million. $1 million in revenue. Then per month, you backtrack from there, per month could be 70,000 per month. And I'm I'm kind of like rough balling my math here, but that's how you got to do it. You have to be able to set a goal, right? Set a goal really high over a 10-year long-term time preference, and then hit targets in between, right? And then when you start, so if you start here and your goal is here, you can look at it kind of like you climbing the staircase, just like this, every single year for 10 years. All right, let's pretend there's 10 steps, and at the top of each step is a target. What is that target, right? Per year. It could be a million a year, right? And you hit that every single year. If you're hitting 7 figures a year in revenue in your business, most likely that will grow exponentially over 10 years, right? So you can hit the goal. So even in your first year or two, you don't hit the million. Maybe you hit 200,000, maybe you hit 100,000 your first year. Next year you hit 200,000, but then you really start to pick up momentum and speed. You start developing your process. You start developing the formula, building your team, building your company. Year 1, 100 grand. Year 2, 200 grand. Year 3, 2 million. Year 4, 4 million. You see how that works? It exponentially grows. I don't really know anybody in business that went from 1 to 10 million in, what's the right to say it, in 10 years with those incremental steps. It was usually like they started really small, maybe for the first few years, like maybe making 6 figures for the first 2 years, then grew, and it exponentially like grew, right? So I think just my bottom line message here on this is, you know, if you guys can come into this with a longer term time preference and not think short term, like the get rich tomorrow mentality you've already lost if you're in that mentality. Getting rich in a month or in a year, you've already lost. If you already came into that with the mentality, you've already lost. And that's okay if you recognize it now and make the changes and steps necessary to move forward from here. Does it make sense? Typically in business, companies, you know, they do quarterly meets. They look at their P&L quarterly to decide, you know, what expenses do we need to cut and what funds do we need to allocate to where to provide more efficiency and growth, right? So that's typically what companies will do every single quarter. Some of them will do it even monthly. Like, what do we need to cut and where do we need to reallocate funds for efficiency? I think there was a survey, I think I saw a survey from Forbes for Fortune 500 companies, and the number one thing that companies strived for, I think it wasn't what you think it is. Like, they asked top 1% Fortune 500 companies, what's the number one thing that you strive for improvement in your business, right? Some options were like customer service, which is really, really important, which should never be ignored. Revenue, client retention, advertising. The other one was efficiency. Which one do you think it was out of those 5 that I mentioned? It was efficiency. Reallocating funding to make things more efficient with less people is the number one thing that most companies strive to do. Yes, growing revenue and top of line and bottom line revenue is important. Yes, customer service is crucial. You obviously want your customers taken care of. But the number one thing they all strive for is a higher level of efficiency in all of their systems and processes. So the more efficient that you can get, the closer you can get to that with everything you do, will start to accelerate. The ball will really start rolling faster down the hill.
All right, and that's it. Hey, I really hope you got some value out of this video and took some notes and implement the things that I talk about on this channel in your life, in your business. My goal is to help you progress on your journey as an entrepreneur in the areas of financial literacy, leadership, and of course, business as always. Make sure you do give me a like on the video and subscribe. I'm doing videos all the time around these topics, helping you get closer to what you want, getting you closer to what matters to you and your family. Hey, it's Douglas James. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you have notifications on. Check out my shorts as well. We're uploading shorts all the time to help you get through your journey on entrepreneurship. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.